Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hello and welcome to this episode of our show. This is your host, Keith Doherty. Today our special guest is top real estate agent Kim Fazzino of RE/MAX Associates Northeast, based out of Kingwood, Texas. Kim is a RE/MAX agent in Kingwood, Texas, a suburb of Houston. She has been an agent since August 2012 and has quickly grown her business to serve over 200 families and has had a production of over $50 million in just under 4 years. She is a member of the prestigious RE/MAX Chairman's Club, is ranked as the number 16 RE/MAX agent in Texas, and is among the top 25 residential agents in Houston, according to the Houston Business Journal 2015. She was recently featured in the 2016 Real Trends Survey, America's Best Real Estate Agents. She serves her clients with honesty, integrity, and Southern hospitality. All right, with all that said, Kim, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Keith. I'm really honored to be part of your show, and I appreciate the invitation.
Absolutely, and we obviously thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to come here today with us. And I guess if we could start for our listeners, what led you into real estate? Was it something that you always knew you wanted to do, or did you maybe stumble into it?
Well, Keith, I was a stay-at-home mom for 17 years, and I went through a process where I felt I was ready to get back into the workforce. I really needed something that allowed me flexibility in my schedule, but also wanted some place in which I could use my talent of my previous career and my degree in communications and marketing. So I spent about 2 years going through the local business pages before finally one day real estate caught my eye. And I called my husband, who was out of town on a business trip, and said, hey, I think I found the perfect job. We couldn't really find any reason not to try it out, so I started classes to get my license the next week, and I was an active agent 6 weeks later. And it's been a fabulous career, allowing me flexibility to still be the mom that I want to be, but also use my talents that I feel I have.
Excellent. And can you talk about what personal attributes, traits, or qualities you think have most contributed to the success you've had in real estate?
Absolutely. I'm a very strong communicator, and I also am a caregiver. And people end up trusting me as their ally and helping them purchase a home. I quickly establish my relationships with them, and I really focus on making each client feel that they're my only client. It's a very strong part of my business structure. And I work hard on being an optimistic influence for each of my clients. And I make a conscious effort to never complain. It is a very stressful job, and there are many that we as agents feel like we want to complain and kind of even complain to clients. But people need an encourager during the whole process from the beginning to the end.
And do you think you could give our listeners an example of when these traits have played a role in your path towards success?
Oh, sure. I've handled many transactions in which clients have been dealing with marital change or job loss or even a loss of a spouse. And I've been able to step in and care for them and serve their needs professionally. And, you even get to the point where emotionally they're leaning on you during the process. So that they can feel that buying and selling their home can be one less thing they have to worry about. My clients end up trusting me through the process, and I take that as a very strong gift that they give me to allow them to come through the process with being able to help them minimize any kind of stress that they might be feeling during it.
Excellent. And Kim, I think every time, somebody builds a successful business, usually the path to get there isn't always a smooth one to get there. Sometimes there's bumps in the road and things along the way. Can you talk about some of the adversities and trials that you've had to overcome in order to achieve your goals?
Sure. Of course, there's the initial struggle of just letting people know that you're a realtor without being able to overstep those bounds of relationship that you may already have with your referral base and your influences, your sphere of influence. And so there was that line at the beginning of not wanting to be too hard of a salesman, but also sharing with people that, hey, I'm now an agent and I'd like to help you. And so through that, I was able to, instead of being, really strong in my sales approach at the beginning of my career, I always would keep business cards in my pocket or accidentally go to the grocery store with my name tag on, so that I always had kind of an opening to share that information with people without seeming too salesman or two in their face. But I started my career in a very strong seller's market, and I had immediate success and sold over $8 million my first year, where the average sales price was just $220,000. So I was often asked during that process, how many years have you been doing this? Usually during the interview or at some point during the home, shopping process, someone would ask me that. And I was always leery of saying, well, this is my first year, because I really felt that I had the experience of a more experienced agent. So I would answer, I would kind of sigh and give them an answer of, well, it feels like forever. And also, I try to be honest and say, well, this is my first year or my second year. But I've been so successful in this time that I've really handled as many transactions as agents that have been doing this for many years. So I've experienced many years of real estate in a short amount of time. And I found that was a way to overcome any kind of doubt that my clients might have that I was a newbie or didn't have the experience to know what I was doing to represent them.
Excellent. And I guess, Kim, as these obstacles come up, why didn't you give up? What was your driving force?
Well, I find real satisfaction in this job. It's, as corny as that sounds, I really mean it. There is a great deal of responsibility as the agent to help people through the process. And again, it goes back to my feeling of being a caregiver for these people and putting their faith in me. I just really feel at the end, when I know that I've taken the best care of them that I can and helped them through what can be often difficult process, I feel thankful that I can get them there, and it's very rewarding on my end.
And Kim, I guess looking forward, what's your vision for your career and your business over the next 5 years?
Well, this year my husband joined me, and we're now a team, the Fazzino Group. And in that team concept, we are now looking forward to growing our team. We are in the process of hiring buyer's agents. I have a full-time licensed transaction coordinator, and I would like to continue to grow my business in a quantity of clients but still give them the same quality of care. And at some point, you have to bring people into your team so to be able to provide that service so that each client still feels they're the only client that you have. So in order to do that, we are definitely expanding our team. We have a very, very systematic approach to handling clients as they come in. So looking forward to developing that process further as well.
And I guess kind of on top of that, what do you feel is the best way that you market yourself as a real estate professional so you can have continual growth?
Well, I find that referrals in my career, referrals seem to be my strongest way of developing my business, and that is through social media, referrals through social media, as well as just keeping touch with past clients and my sphere of influence. And I try to spend some time every day prospecting with people that know me already. I find the referrals I get from my sphere of influence are better clients. They're more loyal to me, and we already start with a relationship because we have a common denominator of that referral base versus just the general online calls and people who found me through my website. I do market through Trulia and Zillow, and I have a great website that I get people reach out to me because they know my name. But really, truly, the key to my success has been that referral base that I stay in touch with.
And Kim, I think sometimes when the general public looks at real estate agents, they don't fully understand the value that you provide from both a buyer and a seller standpoint. What do you think the biggest misconception or myth people have about working with a real estate agent?
Oh, I think the biggest misconception is that you just unlock doors for people and show them pretty houses. There's so much more to the job, and it's usually not until the end of the process that people actually realize that this is a very detailed job. It's very contractual, and you really have to have a good system, and you have to have a great attention to detail to actually come to the closing table and have the process be smooth. And that was probably a surprise to me as well. I didn't realize going into it exactly how much more there was to it than just unlocking doors.
And Kim, let's say you get a call from a family member or a friend, and they're in another state, and they want to sell their home. Obviously, with your experience and with your network, you could probably reach out and find an agent or do a referral. But from a general advice standpoint, what advice would you give them about selecting an agent that could best serve their needs?
I would definitely, and I get this call often when people are moving or have connections throughout the country. And I always tell them, interview the agent and really pay attention to their communication style. They have to listen to you. They have to understand what your wants and needs are. And you have to understand that this agent is going to be your direct representative to the rest of the real estate community. And they've got to be able to communicate well to you and to others, and they also have to have a communication style in which they're very clear. I would also recommend to ask, how often do they communicate? How often are they returning phone calls? The number one comment and compliment that I think I get at the end of a transaction is that I was a great communicator during the process, and I'm committed to getting back to my clients within 24 hours of them reaching out to me. Usually I call them back within an hour, and I think there are just too many times clients are in the dark and they're not really sure what's going on. So when I recommend questions for an interview, it definitely is, what's their communication style and how frequently will they return your communication with them.
And Kim, obviously based out of Kingwood, the Houston, Texas area, if somebody's looking for real estate services or an agent in that general area, what's the best way they can find out more information about you and how you can help them?
Well, they can log into my website, which is very easily kimfazzino.com. They can also call me at 713-899-8014.
Excellent. And Kim, obviously want to thank you for taking time out of your schedule to come here today and share all your professional real estate experience with our listeners. And if you're listening and you want to learn more about Kim, you can go to her website, like she said. Also below this interview, we'll have a link to her site and any other contact information we have so you can see how Kim can help you with your real estate needs. So with that said, everybody, until our next show, have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks so much.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.